Browns and Jaguars Sunday at Cleveland Browns Stadium, and we don't know who the starting quarterback will be, Mary Kay, or at least we have to pretend we don't know who the starting quarterback will be on Sunday. Kevin Stefanski declining to name Joe Flacco his starting quarterback for Sunday, but still all signs seem to be pointing at Flacco getting the start.
I announced that 2 days ago on this video. Of course it's going to be Joe Flacco. He took all the first team reps all week. If they do anything, I think maybe they would give Dorian a package of plays, some things that he could do in the game just to throw them off a little bit, the Jaguars. But Joe Flacco is going to start this game. It's just the gamesmanship that we had to play all week.
Yeah, and Ashley, I mean, look, DTR is now out of the concussion protocol, so that gave Kevin a little wiggle room to continue with the gamesmanship. But again, it wouldn't make sense to not go back to Flacco after what he did on Sunday in LA.
I think we've been talking about it since that game, how impressed we were with the fact that, again, they got him basically off of his couch to come to a new team, his former rival, and perform the way he did. And of course he did have that costly pick, but I think with Joe Flacco you do expect to have one or two of those a game because he is a gunslinger. But I do think, it was interesting this week to hear him talk that a week can make a whole lot difference for him, especially since he's a veteran, to just get that chemistry with his pass catchers.
Now, something else that could make a big difference for him is Amari Cooper. He is questionable for this game. He is not out of the concussion protocol yet, but he was on the practice field on Friday. And Mary Kay, this could be one of those situations where maybe on Saturday we hear he's been upgraded. Whatever it is, it seems like Amari also is trending towards playing.
Yeah, I think he's going to play. Just his demeanor in the locker room over the last couple of days. He looked very spirited yesterday, and then he went out and he practiced today and he looked good. So I think he's going to play. It's just a matter of clearing that next hurdle, and that will be really, really good for Joe Flacco, by the way, wink, wink, to have Amari Cooper out there because, he just is your ex-receiver. He's your number one guy. He's your deep threat, and it will really help them.
Yeah, and actually, he's your most consistent receiver, too. Just a guy that we know Joe Flacco can count on. He didn't really get a lot of Amari Cooper last week against LA before he left that game.
Yeah, and I think you look at Elijah Moore, even though he had those, I think it was 83 yards, he was still only like 4 of 12 on targets. And we talked about that. He kind of got thrown into that ex-receiver role in the middle of the game. And I think Amari is just far and away your ex-receiver, your number one receiver on this team. And I think it's the fact that he's so good at communicating with quarterbacks in game that could also go a long way to helping Joe out there.
Now, there has been a lot of good news on the injury front. Denzel Ward, by the way, he is listed as questionable, but it feels like he's going to play in this game too. But the big one we're keeping an eye on now is DeJuan Jones. He popped up on the injury report with a knee injury. He is questionable for this game. He hadn't missed a practice until Friday, and we saw him in the locker room. He had a wrap on the right knee. He was carrying a brace. Seemed to be walking okay. It's always hard to tell with offensive linemen if they're walking well enough that they can play, but Mary Kay, that would be a huge loss if DeJuan Jones all of a sudden can't play.
Yeah, it really would be. It was kind of a surprise thing today when we got out there and he wasn't there. This happened in practice yesterday, and, he tweaked something, but, might not have really reported it until today or whatnot. But if he doesn't play, James Hudson has to step in for him. And, right now that represents a downgrade at that position because DeJuan is really playing very, very well. So they're hoping that he will rally and play.
Yeah, and Ashley, they're so beat up on that front. You already have Jaron Christian starting on one side now. If you had to go to James Hudson on the other, it just thins out an area of the team that you can't afford many more losses.
And again, I think it's underrated to say that this is their third guy, really, since DeJuan has been in there since Jack Conklin got hurt in week 1. So this offensive line this year, it felt like that unit alone has been kind of ravaged by injuries, including when Joel Bitonio had to miss his first game in forever earlier this season. So it would definitely be a tough test against a defense that is really great at creating takeaways.
Okay, Browns, Jaguars. One more. Mary Kay's got one more thing. Go ahead.
Trevor Lawrence is also a game time decision. So you've got two teams keeping everybody guessing and waiting until 90 minutes before the game. But down in Jacksonville, there's word that at least one person I saw an opinion of that he believes it's 80-20 that Trevor Lawrence is going to play this game. So that will also have a big impact on this football game.
Ashley, do you have anything else?
No, I think Mary Kay rounded it out really nicely.
Very good. Full coverage of this. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, all of it at cleveland.com/Browns.